Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast, everybody. Sorry we weren't here last week. Jonesy went to the movies instead. George couldn't make it today, but we've got a good guest on today. We've got Daryl Impey with us. We're talking all things Tour de France, what's going to happen and who's going to win this year's Tour de France, what's been happening, what's the tactics been like. Talk about Daryl's experiences of the Tour de France, how he wore the yellow jersey and how he nearly missed time cut. It's a good episode.
And now Daryl's a sellout, just pushing his merch because he's lekker.
Be lekker.
Always be lekker.
Like, share, subscribe.
Let's just run the intro and wing it like we always do and see what comes out of it.
Let's get ready to rumble! Front kick.
Just getting brought in basketball chat.
My radar's going pretty hard at the moment. I think we should.
Will you shut up, man?
That escalated quickly.
We're going to need to get some more qualified guests on the show, eh?
I love how just as you click the intro, Daryl's like, what are you actually talking about? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Smuggling.
No chance to prepare.
No, we don't know.
That's what I'll make my best.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, for those who've been living under a rock, got a very, very special guest here, Bewls. Very special guest. 10 years ago, from a life-changing moment.
Is that long?
What do you mean?
That long ago, 10.
Yellow jersey, Bewls.
Oh, yeah. Was that 10 years ago?
What do you mean?
We
What are you talking about?
We should actually introduce that Daryl Impey. We've got Daryl Impey on the show today for those who aren't watching. Those who are listening, Daryl Impey's here because George couldn't come. Because he's fucking useless.
Why could he not come, actually? He's always got, like actually, a lot of the times it's like hard to pin down, but what is he doing?
I don't know.
Sauna or something.
He says he has a job as a bike rider, but we don't know. Could be
Is
in
he in the
front.
sauna?
Yeah, he's in the sauna. No, he's training. He had a big ride or something, and then they had a meeting.
But it's like Hoppers 3. It's like Hoppers 3. I also had a big ride. I did 5 hours today. Now George did like 17 hours.
Yeah.
He might have.
I put my hand up. I did fuck the group last week because we did lock in a time, and then I realised, hang on, I've already committed to gold class, the new Mission Impossible. And so I said, can we push it a couple of hours? And then that screwed George. Nah, he had things on, meetings, and then there was just a shit show.
Yeah, don't handball that one off to George. The reason
I put my hand up. That's what I said.
Jones went to the movies.
That's what I said. It's my fault. And the problem is like I'd seen the new Indiana Jones on the Friday, and then I saw Mission Impossible on the Monday. And fucking hell, Hollywood are just getting lazy now in terms of what qualifies as a good action flick. I put that in the group. But the classic one is, what is it with an action flick where no one's ever got on a train, got their ticket, and it's just gone smooth? Whenever it comes to, there's always a shit show on a train, and someone doesn't have a ticket. They've got to get on the fucking train. They're either trying to catch a train with a horse, and they've got to like jump onto the fucking train. When they get on the train, there's always a fight, and they always end up on top of the train, battling someone over something, like punching the shit out of each other because there's always obstacles. There's always like oh shit, we got to duck down because it's fucking duck your head. We're on a bloody train going 150 clicks an hour, but it's just Hollywood just getting lazy. So I'm spewing. I actually missed the potty last week for Mission Impossible because it was the same.
They're getting real lazy. They're all on strike. Everyone in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, no more.
Well,
movies.
You're over in the States at the moment, Bewls. That'd be all the news at the moment, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Someone said to me the other day about it. I didn't know about it. I don't really watch. I don't watch the news over here. Yeah.
How's it been there? How's it been there on the show? Has it been fun?
It's been good. It's interesting. It's like it took me quite a while to find my feet. I'm still finding my feet, probably actually. Just like it's just a crazy world. Like the first day I got here, I went there to NBC and just walked into this building, and I was just like, how the fuck did I end up here? Like it's just this massive operation.
Did they tell you had to shave the beard off straight up? Because that was the thing that freaked me out when I saw you on NBC, was like clean shaven Bewls. I was like, it was like when Homer Simpson had a shave, remember? And he just had the clean face. It was just weird.
No, the reason I'm relatively clean shaven is it was a mistake. So basically, we have to we get up at 3:30 every morning. So the day is up at 3. Alarm goes off at 3:30. In the studio at 4. Work until 1 o'clock or something, and then that's how the day works. So like I got up at 3:30 and I wanted to just trim my bed. I just needed to give it like a little bit of it, just keep it tidy, you know. But I had the clipper, and I didn't have the plastic thing on properly.
Oh, right.
And it was 3:30 in the morning. I didn't know, and I was fucking tired. And I went and I just wasn't even watching. And I started trimming the bottom of my neck, and I just clean shaved it. I was like, fuck, I can't go into the studio with speed strips on my neck. So I just had to commit. I thought about going to moustache, but I was like, I just had to go clean shaven.
So the Manscaped, it really gets close, eh?
Yeah, it gets close shave from the Manscaped.
Close
Yeah.
shave.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, it's going all right. Finding my feet now. Starting to relax a bit. I was pretty stiff. I won't lie. I was pretty stiff the first few days. Just nervous, I guess. I don't really know.
They didn't fly business class, did they? So that's why you were stiff.
No, they flew me business.
Oh, jeez.
So you got no excuses.
No. But just live TV, and you listen to this show and you see how loose-lipped we can be. And I had to there was actually moments where I was really close to I actually got to a point where I was talking about something and I didn't know how to replace the swear word. I was like, I haven't got it. If I don't say fuck right now, which I didn't do, obviously, because I was on live TV, I didn't know what to replace the word with, and I got real confused. But anyway, it's going all right.
But cycling's much like AFL football or any sport over here, and that is every year there's a new batch of people ready to take your job, and that is the freshly retired cats. Are you worried, people like Impey are just scratching at the door, waiting to hang up the boots, ready to take your gig?
Him should be good at that. Good at this
I
job.
think he would. Well, that's why I brought it up. That's why we've got him on the show today.
Well, I got news to tell you. You guys are actually lucky you got me today, because after Thursday, my social media profile is going to really go up, because I've got a gig with GCN on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So
yeah,
nice.
So I'm going to be in the studio. So you guys are actually lucky.
Wow.
Because I'm actually creeping in slowly.
I'm excited about
that. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited.
Well, are you going to do the breakaway show?
Yeah. I'm gonna be in studio, so that's cool.
How'd you land that? Is that all the hard yards on YouTube?
All the hard yards on YouTube, Jones, and then also just being lacquer, just a good egg.
It's just another angle to push your merch.
That's it.
And if you're listening to the podcast, where can people get on? Because we always flog a shirt or a cap on this show. How do they get this awesome merch?
Mate, they just got to go on Etsy, mate, and search the Oaks, and they'll find it. Oaks, it's OKES, not OAKS. It's OKES, It's the Oaks. The Oaks means it's a bunch of Oaks, bunch of guys together. It's the boys. That's what the Oaks is in South African. So that's why we go on the Oaks, and then be like is just be a good person, be cool, be fun. Yeah, that's it. Simple. Anyway, let's talk about my merch and everything else. Let's talk about you guys, what we're here for, because otherwise this looks like an advert, I don't want to
We don't care. We don't care, mate. We're shameless.
Mate, our listeners are loyal. They put up with this shit. They're happy to sift through the weeds.
We've always gone off each other, We've always I always felt there was a good synergy.
Well, we were talking earlier, back to cycling, 10 years ago, Imps, since you wore the yellow jersey at the tour. How quick has that gone?
Sure. Dude, it's flown by. It's, the other day, I said with my kids, Aiden was just born then and now he's 10. He's like a grown, he's nearly like a real boy now, So, lots happened, but you only realize the significance of it now, when you're older and you realize how difficult it was to achieve. And when you're watching the tour now at home and you're seeing guys wear the yellow jersey, then you're really proud, because that's that was you, even if it's for a day or 2 days or whatever, it's a huge moment. But it's I look now at everything that's happened in between that, and it just feels like life's just been in fast forward for the last 10 years.
It's funny, like I remember the moment, like back then, and there was always the cliche, like, "Oh, it's a life-changing moment." And you say it in the moment because that's what people expect you to say. But as you said, it's only now, a decade on, where it hits you. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like you realize because it's been 10 years, 10 years has gone by, and you've done so many Tour de France's in between that you actually realize like you never ever had the chance ever to even come close to the yellow jersey again. And now you've, and now, well, obviously I'm not going to see the yellow jersey ever again because I won't be riding it ever again. But it's kind of like, that you at that point, you don't think like maybe this is the last time, but it's a moment where it could be the last time. That's the difference. Like you win a stage, you also feel that feeling, but like a stage can be is easier to get than get the yellow jersey. So like when you have the yellow, you kind of know, well, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was like that time I flew in a private jet with Lance Armstrong to South Africa. That was also, I knew I'm never going to fly the PJ.
You won't be doing that again, mate.
I won't be doing that again in South Africa and just living the life, So it's like a once in a moment opportunity.
You never know. You might take the world by storm on the GCN Breakaway show over this long weekend and end up being like a media superstar.
Well, I didn't book a flight. I didn't book a flight home because I was kind of like thinking I'd have so many offers by the time I left that probably a private jet is a possibility.
It's going to be good to see you on the breakaway. You'll be good on there.
Fucking oath.
I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Who are you going to be on it with?
It's a nice crew as well. It's a good crew there. So it'll be fun.
Who's on it?
It'll be Orla, Dan, and Robbie because Blathy's going to be at the race. So
he's on the motorbike.
He's on the motorbike.
Do you think Robbie will pull the nostalgic shit where he goes, I remember Daryl back in 2012, or they'll just talk about the race?
I think they'll talk about the race. I think we've got to be a bit more relevant to reminiscing about the old days,
Good point.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite hard for me to not to, like, it's going to be quite, the challenge that I'm going to have is probably just because I'm still racing in the peloton to like have a go at someone like, what is he doing? But it'd be quite funny.
You'll be all right with that because that was like a little bit my fear as well with doing this stuff with NBC was that I'm still working in cycling, and like there's going to be moments like where you have to talk about Israel Premier Tech, for example, or even just talk about your friends, and you'll be fine with that because you've got an emotional intelligence. If you have emotional intelligence, you'll be able to do it without a problem because you're not going to say, "Oh, that guy's a fuckhead," even though like you might want to.
There's probably a few I would like to say something about.
But also, like the number one thing, the one thing that I learned is that like, and it will be the same with you and with Orla, who obviously leads it. We've got this guy Paul Burmeister. He's a bit of a like legend in the NBC sports world. He hosts quite a lot of shows, NFL. Premier League football, and he's the host of the Tour de France show that me and Brent are doing. And like the one thing you learn real quickly is that the lead host will never ever throw you under the bus. And Orla will never ever throw a question at you that she knows is going to put you in a shit situation. And that's the same with Paul here. He would never ever ask a question to me or Brent that he knows is going to put us in a shit situation. Like they lead you down.
Oh, no, Orla can be a smart ass.
I get fired up though. I got fired up with the motorbike thing the other day on live.
No, it's annoying. Like it's annoying, but it's like, and this is not their first rodeo either. The Tour de France. It's like, I mean, the climb's hectic. You go put a bonus sprint there, and then you've got to fight through people. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a cock up.
Yeah.
The thing I bet you're. I was going to say, Daryl. Obviously, you wanted to go to the Tour de France this year, but like, I bet you're kind of glad you're not there when you watch that fucking race.
Oh, there were some days, that other day when I knew it was going to go from the start, the day after the rest day. I could just tell the stage, I was like, oh, this is one of those days. And then I like came back from training and they were still going at it. And then I like got a shower and lunch, a little bit of food. They were still going at it. I thought, oh, I'm glad I'm not there. Like I could see who was dropped and I knew which group I would be in. And I was like, that group is not going to be a lot of fun in today. Like you dropped, So theoretically, your brain to race and to hurt is off, but you still need to keep pushing because you're at the time cut. So you're actually hurting for nothing. Whereas like when you're in the race, you're still like hanging onto the front guards and you're thinking, I'm still in the race. But then when you're like out the arse right from the beginning, you're racing just to like stay in the race. And that's like even worse.
It's just been like crazy. And then a couple of days or the day after when they finished on what stage was it actually? Was when maybe it was Grand Colombier, I think. No, because that was quite flat that stage, wasn't it? No, it wasn't that stage. It was I can't remember now. 2 days after the first rest day, and there was a big breakaway up the road, and Woodsy was in it, but they never got more than 30 seconds because Jumbo just rode fucking full gas. Their plan was just like, we're going to ride full gas all day. Like, even if you're in the bunch, then you're just suffering, and you're just suffering for as long as until you get dropped. You know you're getting dropped.
Well, I mean, you're suffering like a dog, but then like you actually think of the tactics of these teams, and I'm going like, none of them all of them are like just they're taking turns to be offensive, and they're actually not creating situations. They're just going, today's the day. I'm going to show you that I'm not going to give up, or I'm going to put my like cock down on the block and I'm going to go for it today. But then like, actually what they're doing is they're just canceling each other out. One team does a massive day, and the next day the other team does the massive day. So they're just basically sharing the load to where they are. I don't see like, I would have loved to have seen like the other day when Tadej jumped across to Adam Yates there in the end. I thought this is actually a moment for like them to rethink the race a little bit and let Adam get 30 seconds, let him come closer to Vingegaard, and eventually in the last week they can play. Instead, Tadej brought him across, and then the whole day was just for nothing. Like Adam rode them off, and then Tadej actually closed the gap. And I was like, I don't get this. Like, wouldn't you want Adam to slowly start getting even closer to Vingegaard so that they can play at 2 cards versus 1?
Yeah. What you just said then over the last 1 minute is live TV gold. That's what they want. What you just did then. That's what you got to do. That's
you're laughing, mate. You're laughing.
They just want people. They just want you to have an opinion, and that's the same here. What I've learned as well is like they want you to have an opinion, and it doesn't have to be right or it doesn't have to be wrong. No one knows what's right and wrong in cycling.
Make a stand. Anyway.
But you just got to have your opinion, and you got to give context as to why you think that. You nailed it. You're on. You're in. But you're right.
The thing is, you've already got chemistry with Robbie McEwen, so if he says something that you don't agree with, you can rip him a new arsehole, and they'll love that.
There'll be a lot, mate.
Yeah, just kick him in the Jats crackers. You got a job for life.
But it's true though, eh? Like that state, like the tactics of this year's Tour de France are crazy. Like they can't crack each other, and so they need to start thinking outside the box now and be a little bit more adaptive to their tactics. And I agree with you. It's like that the other day, yesterday, when Yatesy rode away, Pogacar should have just let Yatesy take as much time as possible from Vingegaard and put him back in the game and play that card this week.
And even to ride hard all day, like we've noticed already 2 weeks that there's no cracks between the two of them. There's no real sign of like, he's really struggling. So it's like they just kind of riding hard, but there's no option to create another thing because they're riding so hard, no one can attack. But I mean, they're both doing the same tactic, and I just don't see why they wouldn't play. Like, let a group go up the road, let the race go out of control. Like, you can make a race hard by making it out of control too. But when they're just so strong and controlling and they're stopping all the guards attacking, like, nobody wants to play anymore. Everyone's just like, okay, well, tomorrow's another day. It's like...
Yeah. They need to... Like, I guess the time trial is going to be it's going to answer some questions potentially, but at the same time, like, it's very likely that those two guys finish within a few seconds of each other in the time trial tomorrow, and then it's just nothing changes again. And unless somebody has a bad day tomorrow and they get exposed and lose 40 seconds to the other person, then those two teams, they need to get inventive in the tactics for this week, because at a certain point, like Pogacar also knows that, like, if he stays at 10 seconds, he probably doesn't need to drop Vingegaard to win the Tour de France. Like, he just needs to win one bonus sprint on Wednesday or on Col de Loise.
Wednesday, yeah.
win that bonus sprint, win the stage, and then you're already there. If the time stays the same after the time trial, so you got to. It's going to be a good. It's been a fucking good race to watch, though. I must say.
Yeah. No, Wednesday's going to be.
You reckon, Jonesy?
Wednesday's going to be the big day.
I can't wait till fucking Remco pulls his thumb out and starts racing the Tour. Like, throw another one in the mix. Like, I love to having the ding dong battle between these two, but there's an element of like, come on, let's all settle up, let's go, because they did a comparison the other day of Remco and today, and like they're pretty similar age, but today's put his hat in the ring and said, "Yeah, I'm riding the Tour," where it's almost like, what the fuck are you waiting for, Remco? Let's go, let's do it.
I reckon he wants to get a couple of Grand Tours victories in his belt before he goes toe to toe with those guys, because he knows he can go to the Giro and the Vuelta and win. Yeah, get a couple of wins on the board, and then go to the Tour. Yeah, it'd be interesting if Remco was there though, because he's aggressive. He races aggressively. He would bring a new dynamic to this group. These two guys, I reckon, and he's actually the kind of guy who, at least in the first week or the first half of the race, he has the ability to take time from those guys because he's so aggressive and he's so explosive. Like he can actually. He's a little bit more like Pogacar than he is Vingegaard, but but then like I think he's still, I don't know. I mean, fuck, Pogacar's young as well. Like if he could race like that for the whole race, the whole Tour de France, and still win it, or whether he'd blow up eventually. But
I think Vingegaard's more calculated, but I think Pogacar and Remco race more with the balls. You know, they're like they get them. They're
good for TV.
They want to show it. They give it some carry, and then they go for it. But like you've got like. Yeah, it's funny because these guys know they can. It's funny because they do these efforts and you think, well, he'll never come back, but then they like do come back. It's like amazing to see how quick these guys can recover day after day. But it'll be good to. I think Remco will be there next year. I really reckon he'll be there next year. He'll go and try to win the Vuelta again. Obviously, this year I think the big thing was the World Championships, where he probably wanted to go and defend his World Championship title. So he probably didn't want to do the Tour before that.
Earlier,
yeah. So because that's 2 weeks after the Tour now, so that shakes it up a fair bit. So I'm pretty sure Remco probably said, "Let me focus on the Worlds and then go Volta."
Well, if you're a quick step, you'd be like, "You better fucking win it then." If you're going to go all chips in, mate, no pressure. But
I reckon if you quick step now, you're shitting yourself. Remco's going to leave, so you just let him do what he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah. That's true, because there's definitely teams trying to nibble at getting Remco. That's for sure. Oh yeah, I've been surprised by Rodriguez as well.
Good.
He's been real good. He's solid, man.
Man, I like when I see these guys shooting on the downhills like that. I'm just like, okay. This is like
it was going.
Like people don't understand the risks that guy is taking to win the stage. Like I know you get in that mindset and you just think she's just willing to crash for it and go for it. But man, they're on that limit, on the edge of the road. It's pretty impressive to watch. But it's also I wasn't gonna lie. I was kind of waiting for something to go wrong, and I was really happy nothing did. But geez, I would hate to be a GC guy and have to race day after day. Not only up hills, but down these hills. The way these guys go, descent, it's just nuts.
It was actually quite, in some ways, like it was, like if you're just talking purely about safety, is that Remco and Pogacar and Vingegaard were together over the top of that climb the other day when Rodriguez won the stage. Imagine if it was like 5 seconds at the top or 10 seconds at the top, then they're just both got to go like madmen down that descent to try to keep the gap. Like, so the fact that they were together was like, it was at least safer for those guys. Rodriguez was still going for it.
But for me, it looks like Vingegaard's pretty shut. He's pushing so hard to stay with Pogacar. Like you saw him cock up a few corners. He's so hard on the wheel. There's so little room for error. Like the other day, he was nearly sideways there, and it was just because I think he feels like if Pogacar gets 5 meters on him, he doesn't know if he'll be able to like close him on the downhill. So he's just so hard on him that it's like, I kind of think you should kind of relax a little bit, you know?
You need a little bit of space when you're going downhill,
Yeah, for sure.
But he's fast, I reckon, Vingegaard. I reckon he's a good descender.
Oh, these guys are the best bike riders. They for sure. Jeez, if they can ride uphill and go downhill like that, they're the best bike riders in the world. I mean, you don't win the Tour de France by not being able to ride your bike downhill, and like also miss all the other carnage that goes along the way before, fighting in the front, all that. So, we've seen it hasn't been a bad tour actually. It's been actually a good tour in terms of like not. Okay, apart from the other days, a few big bingles, but nothing like, I know they stopped the race, but actually wasn't like too many guys who went home there. It wasn't like the mass pileups we've had before and like 15 guys have gone home.
And that was just a wet road. And then obviously yesterday, because the guy put his camera, tried to take a fucking selfie of Sepp Kuss, dropped the whole peloton. But I reckon that there's definitely been less crashes. Okay, the last couple of days have been quite, there's been quite a few, but essentially there's been less crashes this year's Tour de France, and there's been less of those big pileups that we're used to seeing at the Tour de France that, you've been victim of before as well, Daryl, and me as well. But I reckon the reason is because the first week was so hard. There was no sprints, like because they went straight into those stages in the Basque Country. There's only the whole peloton's not racing those days. Like the sprint teams aren't racing like they would be if there's a sprint stage the first day where you've got the whole peloton trying to be positioned. Everyone's fucking nervous. The GC teams are trying to be at the front. The sprint teams are trying to be at the front. And everyone's fresh. And that's when those big crashes happen. But because the first week was so hard, I think that's played a big part in why there's been less crashes as well. And it's been a better race to watch.
Yeah.
I reckon. Not like
you don't want guys going home for crashes. It's terrible when guys are just going home for crashing, and it's like...
Well, the big talking point in Australia is like... Caleb Ewan abandoned, he wasn't going to make the time cut or whatever, and he just hopped off the bike. But it was the reaction of the team owner where they interviewed him and he said, nah, really disappointing. It's not just physical, it's mental and that as well. And Caleb's manager backers got involved and said, it's bloody disrespectful that you're going out and calling that out, after the finish or whatever. What's your take, Bewls? Like if you were the team manager, obviously he's on a big contract, and you're asked a direct question, how do you feel about Caleb withdrawing? Well, it's a bit of a balance, isn't it?
No, you just say it's an in-house discussion. It's not for the public. It's not for the public. There's a discussion that's going to be had, and it's going to be between me and it's going to be between Caleb. It's not going to be on. It's not for the public to know. No matter. I'm not even going to go into it because I don't know the situation. But like the reality is, if you're disappointed in a rider and not just talking an isolated incident of Caleb, I'm talking in general. If you think a rider's underperformed or they've withdrawn from a race for whatever reason, and you're pissed off, you speak privately to the rider about it.
Wouldn't that be a red flag to a rider thinking about going to that team if the team openly diss another rider? Like, wouldn't you be going, oh fuck, if that's how they treat other riders, I'm not sure.
Well, there could be two things at play. He could be leaving and they know it, or he's, and now they're just thinking, well, now's the time to lay something into him. Or, I mean, but if people who know Caleb personally would know he's just as disappointed to go home. Trust me, he's not a guy who goes for the big, he lives for the big moments. He lives to win on the Champs-Élysées. Trust me, all the other years that he struggled to get through the Tour de France to make it to the Champs-Élysées, to be one of the guys to win there, that's his goal. Like whether or not he could make it this year or not, the level has risen. And if you have a bad day in the Tour, that's the thing that guys don't understand. You could just be on the worst day ever on the wrong day. Like sometimes you have your worst day and it's a flat day and you can still hide in the peloton. And you get to the end and go, shit, I was actually on the limit just to stay on the wheel on the flats today. Thank goodness I was on a hilly day. So like if you have that day on one of the hardest days, one of the hardest starts, there's just no coming back. I mean, you've seen Luke Rowe, guys like that have ridden the Tour de France on the front, controlled the race from start to finish for Sky, Ineos or whatever. And then last year, he had one bad day and he was home. And it was like almost a shock because it was like, oh, how did he get sent home? It's just having the wrong legs on the wrong day. You cock up your nutrition, you don't hydrate enough the day before or whatever, and you just have a bad day. You can be home. That's the level of the Tour de France, though. Like there's no room for error, and that's what I think a lot of guys forget, managers forget, and they say, you should just harden up, you should get through it. But it's more than
they should. They're soft pricks. I mean,
you'd tell him to keep riding, mate. Just You know, Heyman would say,
like-
always keep riding. You know,
Yeah.
That's it.
Have you ever been close to a time cut at a Grandie?
like my first Tour de France, 2012. I was out there arse on the Tourmalet with Cav, Farah. Peter Weening was the surprise. He was with me.
The window.
And Bernie Eisel. And I remember Cav actually got like a bit sick on himself up the climb. He was pushing so hard. Then on the downhill, I remember telling Farah and them to like slow down because I knew if I lost the wheel. McEwen is giving bottles out on the climb because it was the first year that he had retired or whatever, and he was giving us bottles. And I remember saying, just keep pushing on, mate, keep pushing on. I could barely grab the bottle. Did the downhill and that got into the valley, and I couldn't chop through with Bernie and them. I'd shut myself on the downhill already because they were going so fast. I was sprinted the whole way down the downhill just to stay on the wheel. And the valley, Bernie was giving me shit not for pulling through. I said, man, I'm trying to get to the finish line today. I don't care how much you shout at me, but I'm in like crisis mode here. We caught the bunch, the Gruppetto, and then I remember Cookie just like giving me gels and whatever. And we were climbing up the last climb, and the team was saying, like, guys were like, worrying about time cut and whatever. And I was in such crisis mode that I just told everyone, guys, we got it. We're all good. I just spoke to the manager. We got heaps of time. Heaps of time. Like, I didn't know the time gap. I knew shit. I just said, go. So then we get the top of the climb. We started descending. We were coming to the end. And then I only started to think, shit, I've been telling these 30 guys here, like,
We're all good.
well, we're all good. And man, we came around the corner and I saw the time board. It was like 600 meters to go. And it was like 1 minute 33 to make it. And I was like, see, guys, told you, we got heaps of time. We made it by like 35 seconds or something. Man, I got into the team bus. I still had my helmet on. They were like, you're going to shower, Impey? No, I just had my protein shake. I was just like spilling all like protein shake down my chest. I was so tickets. I didn't shower, whatever. The bus moved on and like, I still like after like 15 minutes, still had my helmet on. I was like just in a world of hurt, man. And like I pushed through. Next day was fine. Next day I was like climbing with the front group of like 70, you know. But that day, out the arse from the start, man. Like,
I made it at the Giro stage 16 of the 2016 Giro. I made the time cut by 6 seconds, oof. And I just came out of the rest day real bad, and it was a real short stage. It was like 105k or something. And we went like in this valley for 20k at like fucking warp speed, and then we just went up the first climb, and I got dropped. I was the first guy dropped with I was dropped with Trentin actually, and I was just like taking sticky bottles, and like I said to Matteo, I was like, sorry man, I've got to do it. He's like, yeah, don't worry. And then like got to the top of the climb. It was just me and Trentin, and we're in his area. We're on his training road. So he's like, we'll be right. I know this descent real well. So I was just on the fucking limit trying to follow Matteo down this descent. We got back to the Gruppetto in the next valley, but then like the time cut, because it was the stage was so short, the time cut was like 18 minutes or something, you know, like a real small time cut. So even the Gruppetto was kind of like, fuck, we're going to be close. So I swap off in the valley, but I was like, at least I'm in the Gruppetto now, I'll be fine. And then we finished on this 10k climb, and we started the climb, and it was like they had to like push pretty hard on the climb to make the time cut, the Gruppetto, but I was fucking suffering. So I just straight away dropped. And I remember Julian Dean was the sports director there. He was following me. He's on the car. He's like, Bewls, you've got to stay with the Gruppetto, mate. If you get dropped from Gruppetto, you're going home. I was like, I fucking can't. And I physically couldn't stay with the Gruppetto. I did this whole climb with just me. I was last on the road with Carlos Betancourt. I was like, I don't know what he was doing there. He won Paris-Nice once. And he was like with me. And we're like going to the last climb. And Jules was like, you've got to go, mate. You've got to go as fucking hard as you can. Me and Carlos Betancourt were the last two on the road. We were sprinting out of the seat, like full sprint down the home straight, like almost bike throw. Like made it by 6 seconds. I was like, oh. And then the next day, same thing. I was like pulling. Chavez had got the jersey, and I was riding like pulling on the front on the climbs with like 35 riders left from the peloton. It's fucking weird.
It's just the rest. It's just the rest day, man. You like, if you don't spend enough like carbs, or you overeat and you just get heavy and you just get big, like just swollen, and you just go nowhere the next day.
I remember that Grandy. Remember Albacini when he had the problem with his liver or whatever? He put on like 6 kilo throughout the race, and then they worked out that he had a problem flushing the fluids.
I bet you've come out of some rest days pretty bad, Nick Jonesy.
Oh, big time. Yeah,
you've come out of Alpe d'Huez in pretty good shape though sometimes.
Yeah, didn't you wake up on a rest day in a car park or something?
Yeah. So what happened is like it was the day I posted the Alpe d'Huez music video. That was 2013. That was 10 years ago. And I finally finished it at like I don't know, 11:30, almost midnight. And I remember Nikki and Andy Gerrans were going out to a nightclub, and I was cooked. I was like ready for bed, and they go, "Hey, come on, Jonesy." You know what Strobe was like back then. Oh, you weak bastard. Come on and have a drink. Yeah, okay. We went to this nightclub. I didn't really have that much, but it was at altitude. So I reckon I had 5 or 6 drinks or whatever. Last year I remember is leaving the nightclub with Andy Gerrans, and he goes, "All right, we go right." And I go, no, I got a shortcut. Go this way. And we split. And I remember waking up at 7:30 in the morning just looking at this grill of like this Ford or like a Range Rover. I was in a car park 3 levels down, like leaning up against a brick wall. And I looked at my watch and it was like 7:45. The bus was leaving at like 8:15 and shit myself. And I was 2K from the hotel. I remember just lead footing it, running back, finally got the hotel, dripping in sweat. And there was Miha out the front. I remember I was checking my pockets. I couldn't find my phone. And I run in, and he just pissed himself laughing. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Have you seen my phone?" What? No. And then Steve, I was looking for me. It was fucking chaos. And we finally got my phone off some Frenchman who found it out in the middle of the road. But, mate, I was like fucking so close to missing the bus. And
who were you afraid of most? Were you afraid of Steve-O most or just missing the bus?
Well, it was a year where, remember, we did the
Steve-O would just look at you with disappointment.
Yeah, he wasn't angry. He was disappointed. And that was enough.
All right, Dan? Big night, Dan.
Yeah, nah. But I got a few runs on the board that year because we did the ACDC video. You guys had the yellow jersey. All the content was fine. That was the back end of the race where, like, remember it was like those days. It was like, all right, job done. We've had a great start at the tour. Anything at the back end's a bonus. And so, yeah, no, it was fine. I didn't lose my gear or anything like that, so I got away with it. But fucking hell, you look back now though, like stuff you did 10 years ago to now mature adult. You just go, oh, fuck.
Remember at the Worlds in Richmond, we were all there, all three of us were there, and you woke up next to the ice machine at the wrong hotel.
Mate, we got our drinks spiked. There's a few of us out that night. That's no shit.
I tried that excuse with my wife too. Oh no, I think
no, mate.
I ate last night. Jeez, I think
I can tell you now. There was a group of us that went out and we had 2 beers, and the last thing I remember is this guy walking in this bar, and it was like someone had a 21st on. This guy walks in, he's like fucking, thought he was King Dick, and he had 3 young blokes with him or whatever. And we're just at the bar, and he heard the accent. He goes, where are you guys from? We go, we're Australian. He goes, Aussies. I go, what do you do, mate? He goes, I'm a doctor. And then he goes, let me get you a round of drinks. Everyone that had a drink from his round, that's it. Lights out after that. So you can't tell me we didn't have a fucking drink spike. And no one can remember getting back to the hotel. But, yeah, we were staying at the Western, and I woke up at the best Western, face first next to the ice machine. I think there was a few carrot chunks around me, but it was like 400 meters from the Western Hotel.
Why does carrots and peas always come out? Even if you haven't had a pea, it's like peas. Like you might have eaten the pea like 6 years ago. It's like pea surfaces, somehow the peas come out in the carrots.
That's it. Fucking hell. So I don't know what that guy was thinking. Like, why would you spike a drink? Well, he did spike a drunk for shits and giggles. But every person that was out that night, fucking gone.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Good times. Fucking good times. Who's your prediction? Who's going to win, the Pog or Vinegar?
Man, it's been annoying. It's been annoying in the tour. It's like, not annoying, but it's just the arrogance of the 2 teams. Thinking it's just a 2-horse race. That's been a bit annoying for me. Like, that's actually been pissing me off a bit because, like, they were like Jai Hindley, like they let him get the jersey, and I was disappointed, not in Jai, but for Jai, that it hasn't really gone his way, and he crashed the other day. Where I think he could have, like, if he didn't crash, he might have hung on a lot longer, and maybe the podium still would have been in reach. But just the like little bit of the arrogance of the teams where they like it's just between the 2 of us. I'm like silently just hoping like someone comes.
Well, that's why I wanted Remco to ride it. Like throw another hat in the ring.
Man, I wouldn't be surprised if they change their strategy a bit and like you get an Adam Yates just like all of a sudden going, let off the leash, go in the break, go put them under the pump, get 2 minutes one day, has a good time trial. Oh, shit. And so then the 2 of them mark each other out because they're so used to marking each other out that we see him slip away. That'd be cool. It'd be cool to see Yates.
Yeah. I reckon at the very worst, Yates is going to finish third.
Yeah.
And like if UAE, they did make a bit of a mistake the other day, even if it was only going to be 20 or 30 seconds that Yates he could have got yesterday if Pog let him go. They should have done that, bring him a little bit closer. And if they use him right, like they can put Yumbo under pressure. And it could go in Yates' favor where all of a sudden he's right in the game, you know?
For sure. But I think at the moment, like they can't, like they're so even, Jonas and today, they're so even that actually you can see it. They both make an effort. They put the gap in each other and they go the same speed. There's just no like, because they are going so hard that you can only go as hard as you can go. There's like no harder than hard. It's not like, oh shit, I'm going to give another 10, I'm going to give another 10 minutes. Like it's like they get to a point where it's just like humanly they're at the same level. So I think they need to actually realize like that's the game and then go, okay, well then maybe we need to play it smarter now because Sepp Kuss has lost time. So the thing with UAE is they need to actually drop a guy like Sepp Kuss, isolate Vingegaard, which they're actually quite good at doing at the moment, and then play the game a bit. Like they have to.
They, like you say, like unless one of them has a bad day, there's just no separation physically between those two. So it's who plays the best strategy, who plays the best card.
Yeah.
And that's all it's going to come down to. And fuck, I don't know. I said at the start of the tour, so we like basically, there's another thing, maybe GCN's a little bit different, but another thing I learned with NBC is that we have to be like, we've got to make some calls, like decisions. Who's going to win the Tour de France? At least like, we don't know. We don't
balls on the line.
No one's asking us to like have a crystal ball, but like eventually people want to know. People who are watching TV, they want to know who the analysts think is going to win. So you have to say someone. And I said Vingegaard was going to win the Tour de France before the start of it. And at the moment, I still feel that way. I think he's going to win. Pogacar's on a mission, and he's getting better, and you can't separate them. But I don't know. There's just something about Vingegaard. It's like, for me, Pogacar is the best bike rider in the world. He's the best bike rider we've seen in generations. But Vingegaard is just a pure Grand Tour rider. You know, Vingegaard's not going to go and win Liège-Bastogne-Liège or Flanders and all these sorts of races like Pogacar is. But when it comes to just a Grand Tour, there's just something about him, I reckon. He's the epitome of a Grand Tour rider. And I think he's going to take time out of Vingegaard, out of Pogacar in a time trial tomorrow.
I think Sepp Kuss is going to save Vingegaard's race. That's what I think.
He's fucking going, eh?
Sepp's like he's just so reliable, man. He's just so reliable. If they lose Sepp for some reason, then I reckon the game's open. But the minute that Sepp's still there at Vingegaard's side, it's going to be very hard to do anything.
And like I actually I would quite like Pogacar to win, but at the same time, I actually don't really care who wins out of those two. But there's like a sort of I guess like the sentimental side of me for some reason is I kind of want Pogacar to win. I don't know why, but I quite like Jonas as well. I don't really care. I just want to see the race continue, like going toe to toe. And I want to see a team just come up with some strategy that's just fucking mind blowing.
Well, look, they both deserve it. That's the thing. Yeah. It's not like one deserves it more than the other. They've been close the whole race. So now it's like real mano a mano this last week. But I think you're going to have Tadej have his day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I reckon the Pog's going to win it.
Pog dog.
Yep.
Yeah, it could well. Like, that's the thing. Is like, who's going to win the Tour de France? Mate, if I knew that, I'd be a billionaire, you know? It's fucking, I don't know. One of them. Put it that way. But who do you reckon is going to win the green jersey? Do you reckon Van Aert's still in the game? Or
no?
Is he going to win a stage this year?
I was going to say, what's going on?
No, I reckon Philipsen's going to win it. I think he's got
for sure.
He's got stage 18, 19, and then 21. So
he's going to win it easy. He's flying, eh?
How's going, eh? 4 stages. Ooh. I mean, that's
impressive,
the last time guys did 4 stages was like Caviers, you know?
Yeah.
And Kittel
did it once.
Yeah. I mean,
but it was called Cav. He is impressive, eh? Man, like I'm surprised how much faster he is than the other guys. Like he's had a good team around him as well. But like,
but
I
to be
thought that
that level
sprint,
with that pop, he's got that sprinting pop. Where once he
I thought the sprint field would be a little bit more even. Like I thought, like there'd be a few sprinters that would nab a win, but fuck, Phillipson's just been ripping it.
Yeah.
Looks like
So
your
when are you
old
going
team.
when are you going to Bath? Are you going to Bath? Is that where the GCN is?
No, it's in Heathrow. I'm flying to Heathrow.
Oh, really?
They said it's pretty close to Heathrow, so.
Oh, it's a Eurosport studio. Yeah, it's right next to Heathrow.
I was going to say, boys, the old team Green Edge look like they're going to get donuts this year. Stages.
They've had a good race. I mean, they haven't had a bad race. Let's be honest. Like,
no,
they've been there. I think it's just the depth is so like the race has just been ridden between the guys who have won these stages. Really, there was one breakaway day, 2 breakaway days, one where Woodsy won, and the other one was where Peo Bilbao won. Really, and the rest have just been like.
But this is the thing about the tour. It's like no one remembers the second places. You either win, and that's what people remember as a good race. Like Caleb's boss, like he ran second at least once this year.
Yeah,
third and second,
Yeah, Yatesy ran second, and Grunewagen's run second. But if you don't win a stage, people walk away going, "Whoa, it's a bad tour, disappointing."
But it is though. Like if you don't, if you don't win a stage, if you're a team of the level that Jayco is, that's more than capable of winning stages with multiple riders that are there. If they don't win a stage, it is a disappointment. Like, and I don't think I'm going to get shot for saying that. Like, they want to win a stage and they want to do a good GC, but like I still think they have a very good chance of winning a stage. There's still a week to go. Groningen can win for sure. There's no doubt about it. Yatesy can win as well. Like,
he's what's he like 8 minutes or 9 minutes done. He's definitely got leeway at the end there to play a game. He might even go in one of those breaks on stage. Stage 17 or 20. Where he goes up the road and he has his chance because they're not worried about him. For sure. I mean, they're not in a bad position to go for those kinds of wins and leapfrog a little bit maybe to the top 5, in the GC, which is still a massive result. I mean, I've done many tours with Green Edge where we got nothing, And
2012, when you talk about your first
we had the
tour.
white jersey, but even though we won the white jersey twice those years, we never won stages. And it was always like, we won the white jersey, but it's not a stage, So it's like, you gotta have. It's nice to have a stage for sure because you feel like you've stood on that podium and you've done something. But I think guys are very quick and harsh to say like you've had a bad tour. I wouldn't say it's a bad tour. It's more like, you haven't got what you wanted out of it.
Yeah.
But like when I look at teams that have had a bad tour, like you go Total Energies, they've had a bad tour. Like KS Amzik, they've had a bad tour. Like they haven't done anything. Like they get in the moves, but. That's a bad tour.
That's like for sure. Like Jayco, like you say, Jonesy, they've had a good tour. They just haven't won a stage yet, but they want to win a stage and they're capable of winning a stage. So even though if they finish the tour, if it goes on like this and it finishes this way, then you'll say, they had a good tour, but damn it, they didn't win a stage. They wanted to, and they're capable of doing it. But also, like you say as well, Daryl, it's fucking hard to win stages in this tour because these 2 heavyweights are just going toe to toe every day.
Also, like you got to remember, so the team like Jayco is like quite split. You've got like the sprinter teams. They've got like Phillipson's got a full squad for the sprints. Pog's got a full team for the climbs. Like Trentin's getting used to riding in the wind. He's not even going for a sprint. So and then when you come to the pointy end of the race, there in the final, you've got Meza and maybe Renders or whatever looking after Grunewagen, and it's 3 guys that are capable of doing a good job. But at this level, you actually need number 5 and 6 and 4 and to help. And when those guys are getting used as well for like the climbing days, when the team gets spread thin, it's always a bit of more luck in the final positioning. Like I believe Mez has been doing a great job for Grunewagen and putting him in the right place. But it's just they've had to probably use more energy than what they normally would have had to if they had a full lead-out train.
For sure,
Geez, when you talk about Total Energies, all I can think of is fucking Peter Sagan, and I don't know if like there's been a few riders over the journey that they get to the back of their career, they take a big contract, and they're just not the shadow of the rider they used to be. He's got to be in the top percentile in terms of contract and just ticking the legs over to finish it out.
I don't know if he's just ticking the legs over. I think he's just the sport's just moved on and it's evolved, and he's not alone in being in the older generation of riders in the peloton now that couldn't move with the cycling change. It just got fucking faster and different, and
it's also not his fault. He's on a good contract. Like he's also deep down he's deserved. Let's like call it, man. He's 3 times world champion. He's 7 times green jersey winner. Won all the major classics. Like he is a hitter, Peter, man. He's like one. If you look at how many second places he's got over his career as well, and all that, like he was 10 years at the top of the sport, like winning everywhere. Every race he went to had a leader's jersey. You hardly saw the world champion jersey on him.
Poor old Total Energies who footing the bill for the last 3 years have got shit. Like, in terms of results, they got nothing.
What's funny is like how like the world. This is just how the world works, and the humans work. Is that we all move on quickly, and like that's what keeps us. It's what we need to do as human beings. We need to move on, otherwise you've all been in the fucking pit of despair your whole life. But like everyone goes, the Walt Van Aerts, like Van der Poel's, like. We've never seen people like this. Fucking Sagan, man. Like, he was the trailblazer of that shit. He won everything.
Yeah. And it's only because, like, I mean, they've come like 10 years later. They've come at the end of Sagan's best.
Yeah.
Of course, they've beaten Sagan. They go, oh, geez, he's so much better. But it's like like all the Grand Tour winners that are coming now, and then they start comparing it to Froome and all that. It's like, man, we're in a different time.
Well, remember, your first tour in 2012 was when Sagan hit the ground running. Remember how good he was that year?
He was nearly running away with the stages on his bike. He was so good.
Yeah, he was doing like the Forrest Gump.
Yeah, it's like we're untouchable. So I mean, I think it's easy to criticize because you think it's easy and whatever, but like, also like I think you get to a point, and I'm like in the same thing where you kind of feel like you reached your best. And you're still training hard, you're working hard, but you're actually going to I go to the races now going, shit, like I've worked hard, I should be there. Like, and I go there and I actually left disappointed because I'm like, bloody hell, like in the home, I'm doing the right stuff, I'm eating right, I'm training right, but I'm off the boil. I'm just off the boil. And that's not because you're like a shit rider, and it looks from the outsider to go, she's just hung up the tail now. No, Jesus, Impey's not what he used to be, just following those moves at the end, leading out. But the truth is actually I just don't have what's required at the moment, and that's what it is, you know. And I think maybe Sagan's in the same bracket where he's kind of just like, and a lot of older guys that are thinking of retiring or whatever is maybe in your last year things do change because you are like, this is the home straight, this is the thing, this is what I've got.
And no one's evergreen in sport. It's just the way it is. Like, eventually you get older and you get slower.
Total Energies go, well, they know Sagan, the level he's at, and he still gets a ride at the Tour de France. Do they just not have the cattle to replace him? And they look... Well,
look, man, you're looking at the biggest sporting thing in the year, like, and he's
marketing value.
He's marketing, he's popular, he's, there's another aspect.
He's so powerful with Specialized brand. Like, he's going to race mountain bikes next year, and Specialized are going with him and not staying with Total Energies.
Yeah, right.
They just support Sagan.
I just love the tone of his accent throughout his whole career. Just the tone of his voice has just epitomized. Sounds like he does not give a fuck, no matter what he's talking about, because it's like that drawn out. Whatever.
He sounds like Siri.
Like sometimes people ask like stupid questions, like, "Hey, Peter, today's the stage that suits you," and you're like, "What are you saying?" Yeah, it does. Okay, next. It suits me. Cool. I also think like some people ask such stupid questions, like, today's the final. It's like 3K climb, and then it's a streaky downhill to the finish. So stage for you. Yeah.
Wasn't there a rider that took the piss out of him at the tour this year on stage from Lotto?
I think it was one of those Belgian, what's his name? De Frisson or one of those.
Oh, yeah, he's good, eh?
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Took some balls.
I won't take piss out of anyone because there's probably someone taking the piss out of me too. So it's just like
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But at least take the piss out of ourselves.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably
long enough.
Yeah, good show, boys.
It's good.
I was pleased to find out just to get that news that you're going to do the TV gig though, Imps. Well, I'm happy for you, mate. You'll enjoy it. We'll be able to share stories and when I get back from the States.
Exactly. Well, I'll act like I've been there, done it. When you come back, I'll be like, bro, I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. GC.
At least I don't have to wear a suit, eh? That's a good thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, like the levels, like the way these two, GCN and NBC operate are quite different. That's for sure. Yeah. Even not just the fact that the clothes, but just the style and the more direct. Like it's a bit more direct, I'd say, over here. Like a bit more like have an opinion and take a stand, which I like because that's kind of how I am. But I
just want to see it. Just take on Robbie McEwen. Just take him on.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be the big cash cow. When you have producers going, wow, Impey took on McEwen and won. Just prepare your notes.
I got to slow down. I think when I talk, I got to talk more slow because
it's hard to do.
Yeah.
I've been trying to say the same. And
what's great with McEwen is he never says or ah. He pauses. And he makes his stance, and he doesn't backtrack. It's just smooth. That's a skill. That's a real big skill.
He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
I think it'd be nice to go with Robbie because like previous teammates, I've known Robbie for quite a while, and
yeah.
I think they're a fun crew, so I look forward to it, man.
Yeah,
go the throat, bro.
They'll be good for you. That crew, they'll be helpful as well. They're not going to throw you under the bus or anything. I'll show you how it all is.
So what's the last bit of advice you got, Bewls, now that you're already in there? You're 2 weeks into the gig.
My number one advice, I reckon, is there's a couple of things that are quite hard to get used to, like the producer talking to you in your ear. Not that they do often, but they'll talk while you're having a conversation. It's quite hard. You've got to listen, but keep talking because you can't stop and listen to them because then you're live on air and everyone's like, why does he just stop talking? But I think the number one piece of advice I would say is just listen to what the people. If you're having a conversation with someone, listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, don't like have in your head. Like the biggest mistake I reckon is and I've done it quite a bit and I still do it as well because listen to me. I've done fucking 14 days of TV in my life. I'm some expert.
Yeah.
But like you're talking about a subject and I say something and then like Brent starts talking and then in my head I'm already like coming up with what I'm going to say next, and then you respond, and it's like completely irrelevant to what Brent just said. So like the key is to actually just listen to what he's saying, and then respond to what he's saying.
Yeah,
not like a normal conversation. Just have a normal conversation. Yeah.
Okay, I got you guys. I'm
man,
you're a lot more confident now.
You're a fucking YouTube star, mate. It'll transcend. Don't worry about it.
Look out today. I've got a new one coming up, man. Robbie Hunter. It's actually more like a podcast, but not like a podcast, but it's like on the video thing, because I don't do podcasts, I just do video.
No, but that'll be next, mate.
Vlogger.
And it's it's a real South African breaking through Robbie Hunter, his story.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah, so have a listen after this.
Yeah.
Go on, find it on YouTube. It should be on later.
Yep.
And have a listen to that one. It's a good one.
That's it.
He gets emotional too. He nearly cries. He nearly cries with me, mate.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I nearly broke him down to tears.
People love tears.
He's a tough
guy. Yeah. Good on you, Daryl.
Yeah, good, mate.
All right.
Good to see it's all going well. Yeah, good on you, mate.
Yeah, good. Yeah, great.
Yeah, good on you, Daryl.
I look forward to catching up when I'm back in G-Town at some point. I've had
I've got the in-laws here, so we can definitely
go out for dinner.
Go out for a nice dinner without having to worry.
It'd be good to get a few days at home. I haven't had many. I think I've had about 8 days at home since the 1st of May. So be nice. I'm going straight to Czech tour from here, and then I'll be home for a few weeks.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Perfect. We'll have George Bennett back on the next step, potentially. Oh, and isn't George going to get Pog on? If Pog wins the tour, we'll get George in the Pog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to see
Pog
George
said
come
he'll
through.
definitely come on.
I want to see
Pog
George
will
come through the
definitely be
goods. I've heard this many times.
Yeah, no, he's definitely on the next step. So next episode, potentially in 2 weeks, will be George and the Pog after he wins the tour. So stay tuned. Massive. Like, share, subscribe. Any last words of wisdom, Bewls?
Don't listen to anything I said.
Enjoy the rest of the tour. It's going to be a good week.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. See
All
you
right.
later.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.